Hi, and welcome to this month's Virtual Owners Meetup. This month, I'm sitting down with a handful of RVshare's top owners in 2023. These owners were chosen based on their high scoring performance metrics, including reliability and response rate. If you're looking for some tips and tricks on how to have a successful rental year in 2024, you've come to the right place. Some of the tips we discuss include: 1, working closely with your rental coach; 2, being communicative and reliable; 3, putting hospitality first; and 4, having great photos on your listing. Please enjoy the next few interviews. So first up, I'd like to introduce you to Matt. He is a top owner in 2023 from Lebanon, Missouri. Matt, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started on RVshare.
My name's Matt, like she said. We got started on RVshare because we were just looking around to rent the RV since we weren't going to get to use it as much as we wanted to in 2023. The Army moved me and just made it a little easier to supplement the income. And so we got started and it went really well for us last year. So we're going to keep it up.
Awesome. So 2023 was your first year listing, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're a new owner. And what surprised you the most about listing your RV on RVshare?
Honestly, I'd say what surprised me the most is it was just so easy to not only list it, but just communicate with the account managers and the renters.
Did you find the account managers helpful? How did you work with your account managers to really, maybe set up your listing or boost renter interest?
So when I first started, I just kind of was throwing things up there and taking pictures, just following what it said to do. And then once I got in touch with my account manager, she was very, very helpful, and she explained what made a good listing and what was helpful in helping renters choose different RVs and different things like that.
Awesome. So for anyone listening, I'll include information about how to find more information about your account manager so that you can also get their help to set up your listing or ask any questions, because I think that is super useful for new owners listing on RVshare.
Yes.
So Matt, we have a lot of new owners that are going to be tuning in. They might be considering, listing their RV in 2024. They probably are in the same spot you were this time last year. So what are your tips for getting started?
I would say definitely make sure you take plenty of pictures, and don't just take pictures of it where it's just trashed or whatever. Make sure you clean it up. It's almost like if you're looking at hotels or something, like you don't want to rent a hotel or an Airbnb that's just looks horrible. So make sure it's clean and you take lots of pictures with all the different things inside and out that shows all the features of the RV.
Right. Definitely, I think hospitality plays a role in this. And I think putting yourself in the traveler shoes and looking for an RV that fits their needs and it's something they want to go in vacation on with their families is really important. So that's a great tip. So what have been your biggest learnings so far while facilitating RV rentals?
One of the biggest things that I've learned is you really have to explain it to some people, and really walking everybody through every little possible option with the RV and finding out what they're going to use it for. Because if you don't walk them through something and they just try it, it's very easy to break some of the things in some of the RVs. So I'd say the biggest learning thing was just making sure that everybody is aware of how everything works inside the RV.
And do you recommend communicating with those renters during a trip? And how often do you usually talk to them while they're renting your RV?
So I kind of left it up to the renters. Each one, I would ask them like, "Hey, I won't communicate with you unless you want me to," or "Hey, would you prefer that I check in every day?" or whatever they wanted really, because I didn't want to interrupt their vacation as well, but I also wanted them to know that I was available in case they did have questions to reach out.
And did you put any processes in place to vet renters before they made a booking? What kind of questions did you ask, if any?
Really, the only questions that I asked was if they were gonna be towing the camper. That way, I just always made sure like they had a vehicle that would pull it, and if they had done it before, and stuff like that. Or if they were not towing it and I was delivering it, I would ask them like, "Hey, have you ever used a camper before? If so, is there any specific kind?" And just let them ask any questions that they have about the RV.
Did you find that you came across a lot of like first time RV users, or was it a lot of people who have had experience in the past?
I think out of all the rentals that I had last year, I think I only had 2 or 3 that were first timers. Everybody else seemed to have a good amount of experience with them. A lot of them were people who had one in the past and they just didn't have one at the time, or theirs had broken down, or whatever the case was, that were renting them out.
And then since you have a travel trailer, a lot of the travel trailers on RVshare offer delivery. Do you offer delivery of your trailer?
I do.
And how did you decide like what to charge and what price that is? Because it does take a little bit more hand holding. It's a really popular option on RVshare. Renters love that amenity, but it does take a little bit more time on the owner side.
It does. So at first, I actually cut myself really short, thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to charge whatever." And then after talking to my account manager, she told me that, "Hey, this is what everybody else is charging." And then so we did up to the 50 miles for the first 50 miles, just a set rate, and then a certain amount afterwards. But everybody was charging $4 for the extra mile. So I was like, well, that's a little steep if you ask me. So I cut that in half and just kind of went about it that way. My thing with delivery was I enjoy it because I can actually set it up and make sure it's done correctly. And I have a chance to meet them face to face and spend more time walking it through it with them. And it just gives me a chance to make sure it's all done correctly and not have to worry about all of it.
Yep, that makes sense. Um, so I guess for our last question here, what are some of your biggest takeaways about renting an RV share, and why would you, maybe share with a friend to try it out?
Some of the biggest takeaways that I had was it's actually really easy to get started and get rolling with it and all. And hospitality was my biggest thing. So I've always been one that believes that everybody deserves the right to enjoy the outside however they want, or if they want to be in an RV, not everybody can afford it. And so I've found that working with people and just being nice to everybody helped me a lot. And just being able to constantly talk to them, like not making myself unavailable all the time. I was always available if they needed something, um, and all that. And I've actually referred probably like 5 or 6 people to RVshare. So we'll see if they get theirs up and going this season or not.
Awesome. Well, good luck in 2024 with your RV rental business. Thanks for joining us. And if you want to check out Matt's listing, we'll link it in the show notes below. Thanks, Matt. So next up, we have Moses. He is another top owner of 2023 on RVshare. Moses is from Tampa, Florida. So please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started on RVshare.
My name is Moses. I'm a civil engineer. How I started is I bought one RV just thinking, my family, all we did is watch TV on the weekends and go to a mall or do something nothing special. So I thought of buying an RV, and if it was not rented, I will go with my family elsewhere. I'll do something different. It turns out that for the first year that I had it. We didn't have time. It was rented all the time. And I loved it so much. I bought the second one, quit my job, and then I ended up with 10 RVs.
10 RVs. Wow, that is an accomplishment for many people, especially those who are probably joining us today and watching this video. What type of RVs do you have, and how quickly did you scale up to having 10 RVs?
So most of my RVs are Class A's, and I also have Class B's. Class C, I was not interested because there's so much out there for Class C's. So I never thought that I was wondering why the other people are only buying Class C's. So the short answer is most clients think, and it's kind of truth that the Class C is easier to drive, but it's slightly more easier to drive, like 5% more easier. But the Class A is so comfortable. It is very comfortable. It's actually glamping, not camping on Class A. Class C is a different story. And Class B's are actually for couples, and so I have one that it fits two. The other one was a conversion van. I love that conversion van, and I learned a lot. And the last one I bought is a Class B for 4 people, which is a very good marketing for families. For it's very interesting. It's working very much. And some people do like Class B's because you can fit them anywhere.
And when did you start your rental business?
About 5 years ago.
Okay.
RVshare was my first.
So, and just to talk a little bit about, your success that you saw in 2023, you're obviously chosen to be on this video because we saw that in your account and the way that you manage your rental business. So what do you could attribute to your success this last year?
I'm always there. I had many clients on 2023, and I think my success is I'm always available. It's a downside for me because I'm always looking at my phone, waiting for somebody to call me or text me. I'm always there. I think that's my success, and the variety of RVs that I have. It's a good balance. I don't have a very expensive RVs. I have middle of the road, and I think there's a big market for that middle of the road customer. And these are very nice customers. I have very good experiences with them.
And a lot of people listening today are going to be new owners who are considering getting into this business. So with 5 years under your belt, what mistakes should owners avoid?
So my first rental, I emptied the black and gray water, and I closed the valves. And once you empty it, and it took a long time to empty it, it seems that when your the RV is vibrating, it kind of concentrates the black water. When I show the first rental, I open the black water, and black water splashed on me, on my and my and my client. It was a bad omen, but I decided to go through, and it was I'm very happy that I went through with that. Also, the first rental, I didn't know that once you're not allowed to sit while you're expanding the slide outs. So they scratched the floor. I had to fix them. My first rental. Besides that, it's just little stuff from the RVs that are not very well assembled. They have a lot of knickknacks here.
Okay, so definitely know how to operate your own RV, probably so you could also teach renters to be able to handle your RV correctly.
Yeah.
So when putting together your RV listings and getting those up on RVshare to market to potential renters, What makes your listing stand out?
Well, first of all, I'm always on the low range of the price. I don't want to be on the high end. I want my RVs to be on the road. Most people don't like that. Just because it gives a lot of mileage to the RVs. But to tell you the truth, it's the engines of the RVs are very well. They're very good. Uh, I would not advise to get diesels. I think diesel is very complicated. There are not many good mechanics. And gasoline, they're very good. They're a dime a dozen. There are a lot of gasoline, and so I try to keep them on the road. And in many years, I'm not even a flat tire or mechanical issue. A lot of issues with the electronics and things like that, but not mechanically. I do well. I go to a dealership specializing in RVs, and I do change them over there. It's very expensive, but it's worth it. It's the engines have been taken care of very well.
Yeah, that probably helps with
Yeah.
your headaches that you will not now have to deal with. Do you focus on delivery at all? That's a big amenity that a lot of owners
Yes.
do. So you have those.
Yeah.
What do you charge for that? And how did you come for that price? I know it's always a heavy lift as an owner.
Yeah, so it definitely, so there's a lot of time that you spend on deliveries. That's true. Preparing the RV, that's another one, and handing over the RV, that's another. So deliveries, it's the one that, because I go everywhere. I go five hours away and 4 hours away, and for the client, it's so they feel so good when you arrive with the RV over there and they can pack their things at their house. And I don't care about the hour. So if I rent the RV at 10 a.m., they don't have to bring it back at 10 a.m. They can bring it back to their home at 10 p.m.
Mhm.
Sometimes when there's, so it's a very good deal with the renters. And I do charge quite a lot. And the good thing about it is you get all the markets around you. You're not only on your city. If you get so I'm very close to Orlando, Sarasota, Naples, Miami. I sometimes go there. Jacksonville, it's like 4 hours. And college football games, tailgating. That's a big business for me, and people love it. The good thing is they can drink alcohol, and I
Yeah.
and can come, and I will drive them. I will chauffeur them and bring them back, and they're happy. They're repeating customers. Most of my repeating customers are actually people who I deliver to.
Okay. Yeah, it's an increasing, we're seeing that as an increasing offering. I think one of our stats is like 40 to 45% of our rentals are delivered. So it's definitely a competitive edge that you almost, it's necessary because travelers are starting to expect that kind of delivery service, whether they're getting it delivered to a campground and wanting to come and just arrive and have it all set up for them, or to a football game like you mentioned. So I think that's really important. What other
Another thing, it's I have a Jeep that it's flat tow. It's very important to have a some kind of a car to deliver it. At
Yeah,
the beginning, I didn't have any vehicles. I had to go with somebody else and bring me back. That doesn't work. You have to learn how to flat tow. It's not that hard. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice. What other kind of amenities do you include in your rentals? Do you have them fully stocked, or is it an extra add-on price if a renter wants sheets, linens, etc.?
It is extra, but I do not recommend my clients. It could be another experience for other owners, but I try not to offer anything. The thing is, when I rent them, it's cheaper for my client to actually buy the linens and sheets and towels. And since I don't have a place to store them, and it's logistically it's very difficult. So I try not to encourage my clients to rent my linens and things like that. I rather not.
Mhm.
I sometimes I go with them to Walmart and buy the linens and towels and things like that. It
Yeah.
just and it's a good business, but I rather not do it. Well, if I had a team of people, I might do it, but I rather not.
That's right. And you're a one-man show, so you're doing all of this yourself.
Yes, yes, I try to look for other people, but you need to be very reliable when you're doing this. Very, very reliable, very punctual, and people didn't work that way. The people that I tried to train.
What is the rental market like in Florida? Do you see year-round rentals?
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't realize that people in North they only have 6 months. We have 13 months here. It's unbelievable. Everything is so Daytona 500 is nearby, concerts, everything. There's no issues with winter or rain or nothing like that. It's all year round.
That's awesome. How much guidance do you provide renters, and how do you prepare first timers in particular?
So I take about an hour to show the ropes to my clients, and I always tell them the worst scenarios. So what happened if the stairs don't come in, or the slides don't come in, or bear in mind that if you have the key inside the ignition, the slides will not come in. So I tell them worst scenarios. I don't want them to write down anything. I want them to be as relaxed as possible, but I want them to concentrate on the worst scenario point.
Mhm.
Sometimes they get scared, but usually they go through very relaxed, and they can call me anytime. That's one of my strengths.
And what's your biggest learning from renting your RV?
My biggest learning,
Mm.
oh, people are so nice. The RV people are, I cannot emphasize this much. They're very nice people. Not 100%, but 99% of the people are so nice. It's a very easygoing job for the people that are renting. It's not easy going, but because it's a lot of work. But the people that I meet, it's very nice people.
That's good to hear. So for our final question is, what are some tips that you could give to get some five-star reviews? You've obviously facilitated a great rentals in the past and have been doing this for a long time. Do you have any tips for us on that?
Yes, so always be there. There's some difficult people, and most of the people they hide from these difficult people. I'm the opposite. I try to call them that to the point that they get bothered when I identify these people as being difficult, which are very few. Be there always. These are a vacation for people that just save money for years to have this vacation. Things might go wrong, and if they go wrong, you have to be there to help them go through these bumps. It's so sometimes something doesn't work, and I call a technician in Kansas City, and I tell them to go as fast as possible. I put the people in a hotel while they're fixing the RV. Don't think about money at this point. Think about the the people who are going on your vacation on your RVs for vacation. That's kind of my philosophy.
Yep, and that'll get you that good review for
Mhm.
future customers that come along. We'll see that you really take care of your clientele, so that's great. Well, thank you, Moses. All right, next up, I'd like to introduce you to Jesse. He is a top owner in 2023 from Buda, Texas. Jesse, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started on RVshare.
Yeah, great. Good afternoon. It's great to be here, and thank you for having me. So my name is Jesse Teese. I'm the owner of Ties Motor Rental, located in Buda, Texas. I started with RVshare in 2020 with a single family RV unit and have been growing organically ever since.
So tell us a little bit about your RV fleet. How many do you have and what type of RV?
So we focus mainly on travel trailers. We've got 10 units currently. Like I said, we started off with one and have just been growing from there. We've experimented a bit with different types of trailers, found some that work great for this area, and been growing ever since.
Great. And how long have you been listing with RVshare?
About 3 years.
Okay, so that's some quick growth there. Well, you're, invited here today to kind of talk to owners about how to get started and share some of your successes. Jesse was chosen because he has, great performance metrics on our site, super responsive and reliable. And so, Jesse, from your point of view, what made you successful in 2023?
I think a big part of what made 2023 so successful for us is really focusing on operational excellence. And what we found is that our renters are looking for cleanliness, reliability, and support. And by focusing on those three things, we really created an environment that we tried to exceed our renters' expectations with.
That's awesome. So a lot of people that are probably tuning in today are either just starting off and getting in their foot in the door with this business, or maybe considering starting an RV rental business in the future. What mistakes should owners avoid when, starting and getting into this business?
I would say don't wait till last minute to get things ready. Last minute delays can arise for both you and the renter, and scrambling before pickup is never a good experience for either party.
Yeah, great advice. When you had to create your first listing, you've now created up to 10 on RVshare.com. Creating that listing is really something that's going to make a punch and kind of maybe let your RV rise to the top when travelers are looking for what they want to book. So what type of tips do you have for people who are creating their listings, and what can they do to stand out?
Well, I think in a word, transparency. Your listing is your chance to share what's great about your RV and why folks should book it. So I would say take time putting together your content, and using professional photos helps a lot. If you offer add-ons, spell that out in your listing so they know what options are available before deciding to book. You also want to be transparent about what's included and what isn't. So for example, if you're charging dumping fees, tell them that. And no one wants surprise fees on the back end that could have been clarified up front.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times we get questions on those add-ons. What do you particularly offer? Do you have linens and bedding included, or is that an add-on? How do you deal with that?
We do have those separated as an add-on. So we offer linens. We also have a kitchen package, which has all kinds of kitchen supplies, plates, etc. And generators are our top three add-ons.
Okay. Yeah, I've done a lot of interviews like this up to this point, and I would say it's about 50-50 whether owners provide a lot of those things as part of the rental rate and maybe put it in that nightly rate, or they have it as add-ons. Why did this work for you and in your experience?
Well, I want to give them the option. So it's we can be more competitive with the nightly rates by having those split out, and if folks need those, it's available for them to select.
Yeah, that's a good point. You definitely can have a lower nightly rate that way. And do you focus on delivery at all? That's been a really hot amenity that our renters are looking for, and I think gives owners a competitive edge if they do offer delivery.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It really depends on time and really the demographic demand. So 42% of our bookings last year were deliveries. We charge a flat $200 fee for the first 30 miles. But you really want to balance that with the time that you have available to deliver and set up and everything else that's going on in your life.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. So being based in Texas, what does your seasonality look like, and what do you see within the RV rental market in Texas?
Yeah, it's certainly a seasonal business. We're fortunate in the South that we don't have to deal with freezing temperatures as often as some other folks. But we do use that time. That's your time really to do a health check. So make sure you're up to date with all of your maintenance checks, resolve any cosmetic opportunities that need attention. We really focus on those things to keep our rentals looking their best.
Great. And so when you do have your rentals up and ready to go in mid-season, how do you really vet those renters? What kind of questions are you asking to make sure it's the right fit?
Yeah, well, the one thing we want to make sure that all the renters go through the RVshare verification process. It's a simple process that confirms they are who they say they are, and it is required for folks that are either picking up or having it delivered. After that, it's really about making sure that they have the right unit that's going to work for their trip. So, for example, if they're going to go boondocking somewhere and select a unit that only has a 12-volt fridge, moving them into a different unit that has a fridge that also supports propane might be a better option for them, so they don't have to keep the generator running 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think really being their guide and to understanding your inventory and what you can offer them is really important, especially when it's a first-time renter, somebody who hasn't really RV'd before. And speaking of first-time renters, how much guidance do you provide your renters when you're, dropping off the unit or having them pick it up?
Yeah, and that it really depends. So seasoned renters, they want to hook up and go. They don't need an hour of detailed explanation. First time renters need more, and we're happy to facilitate that. I think the big thing here is that you'll want to cover all the important items that you think the renter needs to know. Anything unique about your RV. Then it's really any and all questions that they have, making sure that you get those answers so they feel comfortable before heading out.
Makes sense. So walk us through that, facilitating that trip for that renter. Once they book, what happens next when they book with you?
Yeah, so the first thing is we send them a welcome note. So we're thanking them for trusting us with their rental, inviting them to ask any questions that may come up before their trip. After that, a few days before the reservation starts, we'll follow up and confirm the pickup time. It's also a good opportunity to suggest any additional add-ons that they may want to include, which can boost your payout, but also help set expectations around what's included and what's not when they get there, so there's no surprises.
That's awesome. And then, post-trip is important as well. And I think what the renter can give back to you is that 5-star review. How do you ensure that, you're getting that 5-star review, or are you even asking for it to make sure they're reviewing you?
That's the big thing. Ask for it. And really what I mean by that is, no one is perfect, but did I meet their expectations? Was the RV provided with everything that I said it would be? I think the big thing here is, there's always room for improvement, and you have to kind of take the emotion out of it and recognize their feedback as a gift, and, provides opportunities to improve the experience that we're working so hard to provide.
Awesome. So we may have a few people tuning in that already are operating one unit and are finding success in renting one unit and are really looking to maybe buy a second, third RV to expand their fleet. What advice do you have for them to grow that fleet?
Yeah, so for that, I'd say do your research. Find out what rents well in your area. There's no point in buying another unit if there isn't demand for it. One way you can do this is by looking through other listings and see what rents well. We've also had success in the past by partnering with other owners and renting on their behalf through consignments. It gives you an opportunity to get it out there, see how well it does. And it's a great way to test the market first before making a large investment.
That's great advice. So last question here. What is your biggest learning from renting your RV on RVshare?
Yeah, so for that one, I'd say, I guess one of the coolest personal learnings that I've had is the reward of really facilitating. I'm not sure I completely had my head around that when I first started. It's important to remember that we're not just loaning out an RV, we're facilitating an experience. So if a family is renting for their vacation, our role in that is critical to the success of the trip. It's our responsibility to do everything we can to understand and educate, as well as be available for support if they need it during their trip. And so with this approach really helps ensure that their trip is everything that they dreamed it would be, and it's personally very satisfying.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jesse, for being a great owner on RVshare, and good luck with your business in 2024.
Great. Thank you so much.
So next, I'd like to introduce you to Shelley and Mike. They are another top owner of 2023 on RVshare from Decatur, Texas. So welcome, Shelley and Mike. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started on RVshare.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
So we got started by being a renter on RVshare. We rented an RV to go on a camping trip and float with some friends. And then while we were on that trip, we thought, man, this is so easy and so cool. And we really wanted an RV for ourselves. So we kind of looked at each other and just said, why are we on this end of it? Why don't we get on the other end, buy a camper and rent it out when we're not using it? So I think it only took us a couple weeks from that camping trip to purchase our first camper.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story. How long have you guys been listing with RVshare?
We started in 21, so we're just going on our 3rd year.
Okay, so in 3 years. And what type of inventory do you have? Like what type of RVs do you guys list?
So we started out with the one, and we took the first year to just we knew we wanted a fleet, but we wanted to take the first year and just learn all the things and make the mistakes and with our own camper. So now, this time last year, we still had just the one, and then we opened up consignments, and we just got our 14th one into our fleet. We're getting ready to pick up number 15 and then number 16 this month.
We have most of our units are bumper pulls, but we do have 2 fifth wheels, and we got our first Class C just recently.
Awesome. And can you explain for the audience who might not know what consignment means?
Yeah, consignment is when we take ownership or manage the rentals for someone else's camper. So if they have a camper that's just sitting and they're not using it and they're open to it being rented out, or maybe they've tried renting it out in the past and they just don't want to deal with it, then we manage that. We actually take possession of the camper. We handle everything, and then we just pay them a cut. We split the nightly fee with the owner.
Awesome. So you guys were chosen to be interviewed today because of your great performance metrics this year, responsiveness and reliability as an RVshare owner. What else do you attribute your success in 2023 to?
I think, first of all, we're very lucky to have our own acreage and run this business without much overhead. We're looking to change that soon and move the campers to a commercial location. But I think just being able to have them here without the overhead. And like you said, we try to be very responsive. We make customer service very important so that, if they have any questions, they can call us anytime. We're very open, communicative. What else can you think of?
Just a side note, I'm a certified RV technician, and so I'm able to keep up the maintenance on all the RVs as they go between rentals, which is really helpful because if we had to take one to a dealership or something, it may be out of commission for months at a time. So that's really been part of our success, is that she's able to do the bookkeeping and the reservations and that side of it, and I'm able to keep the units maintained and ready for rental.
That's a good point. That is so important because you know how RVs are. There's always something that goes wrong.
Right.
Another thing we did in 23, and we will continue to do, is that even though it's just him and I, we run this like a business. We always had a weekly meeting where we set goals, and we would sit down and go over what's coming up for the week and just, take it seriously. And we'd set the goals, and then we'd talk about them week after week until we reached those goals, and then we'd set new ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. You guys sound like quite the dynamic duo, so that's great. For a lot of people listening today, they might be just thinking about getting into RV rentals for the first time, or maybe they just listed their RV and are looking forward to the 2024 season. What mistakes would you say that owners should try to avoid?
I would say don't overthink it. I think the best piece of advice I got just by looking at the social media groups like Facebook groups for the owners is that you have to remember it is a camper. So a lot of people, I think, want to go overboard and provide all of this stuff. And it is a camper. So you just have to realize that it's not a hotel, although, you kind of have to treat it like that when you are providing, all the linens and whatever you decide to provide. But you just don't overthink it.
Yeah. And don't hesitate. Like we joined a bunch of the Facebook groups, owner groups and things like that. we ask a lot of questions. And so no question, there's no stupid questions. Just do your research and just ask questions and know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and in a previous conversation, we mentioned our account managers here at RVshare. So it's a good reminder again that RVshare does have support for owners and can help with you like set up your listing and answer any questions you have for you. So as I mentioned previously, we can link to how to find your account manager in the show notes. So my next question for you guys is when you're thinking about listing your RV, or maybe you already have, what makes your RV listing stand out? What have you done to attract potential renters?
Yeah, we do a little bit of staging, not too much. Just put maybe a fake plant here or there, a little tray, maybe with some delicious looking food on it. But I use the same blue chairs in front of each camper when I do my feature photo. So that is just kind of a branding thing for us. And then I think it's very important. The photos are so important. So if you don't have a camera or a phone with a wide angle lens, then that's just crucial. You have to have a wide angle lens. There's not enough space in here to take zoomed in photos. So a lot of people don't think about that. But the wider the angle, the better. That way you can get a lot in one photo.
Yeah, certainly. And that definitely captures everything that they should expect when they rent your RV. And I think that will set them up for success. So moving on to if you guys focus on delivery or not. Delivery is a amenity that a lot of renters are looking for, and it's becoming more popular because of the ease of having the RV delivered to their destination. Why or why not do you guys provide that?
We actually offer both. We learned the first year that the first year with one camper, most of our rentals were pickups. We only had a few deliveries, but in 2023, that actually flipped. We've had a majority of our rentals have been deliveries, and we actually bought a truck just specifically for that reason. So we do offer delivery. There's a lot of renters that like that because when they get to their destination, when they get to their campsite or whatever, we don't just drop the trailer off and then leave. We set the trailer up. We'll put the mat out. We may not set the chairs up, but the chairs will be available right there for them. So when they walk into the camper, it's basically like walking into a hotel room. They're just ready to start their weekend, and they don't have to worry about anything. And then on Sunday or whatever return date is, we go pick it up, and they don't have to worry about a thing. I mean, we actually enjoy doing delivery.
And Shelley, you mentioned linens and towels and things like that. How does your company handle those amenities? Is it an add-on, or do you include them in the nightly price?
We've always included that in the nightly price. But now that our fleet has grown, I'm starting to rethink that a little bit. That might be something that changes in 24. It seems like there's a lot of work that goes into laundry and doing the dishes in between each rental. And a lot of people just don't use any of the dishes, and you still have to rewash them in between. So we might change that to an add-on, but for now, everything's included.
And we also fill the propane bottles. We don't charge for propane.
Right.
So that's something that we've discussed back and forth. Do we charge for what they use? Do we not charge? So we just fill the propane bottles and just let them use whatever. So
yeah.
Okay.
Now if they do run out of propane on their rental, then that's their responsibility to go fill it up.
Correct.
So for you guys being based in Texas, what is the Texas market like, and kind of what has your experience been with having an RV rental business in Texas?
So in Texas, it's a little bit saturated, and we live on the outskirts of the DFW area. And I honestly thought when we first got into this that nobody would want to drive this far to pick up a camper and it wouldn't be successful. But that really proved me wrong. Even in the first year when we just had one camper, we were pretty busy, just for having one camper. So that's how we decided to just keep going. and keep adding units, because we're so far off the beaten path, and it just, I don't know if it's our service or what, but it just keeps us busy. So.
And really here in our area, I mean, there it is seasonal, but it's very short seasonal. Like we shut down, and I wouldn't even say shut down, but we, between January and mid-February, we kind of block out the calendars, and it gives us time to do any major maintenance or any to make sure the units are ready to go when springtime comes around. But it's just a small window. We have rentals all the way into December. Uh, so really it's not very much seasonal is what I'm saying. So.
And this year we had 6 rentals just over New Year's.
Wow.
So
yeah.
that was very surprising.
Yeah, really.
And great.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think a lot of people watching too would be interested to hear just about how you vet renters and what questions you ask when they inquire to rent your RV, and kind of how, you get to know if it's the right fit for you guys.
Yeah, the very first thing I do is I thank them for reaching out. And I try to get to them as quickly as possible within just a few minutes of their inquiry if I can. And then all the basic questions. Of course, I ask, what is their destination? And then if they need delivery, or if not, what is their tow vehicle? I ask about how their tow vehicle is set up. What is it equipped to haul? What kind of plugins do they have? How many people are staying in the camper? And then if they need any of the add-ons that we supply. I also ask them if they have rented before. That makes a huge difference, I think. And if they did, I ask them how that rental went. I also ask them about their towing experience and their camping experience. So even if they say they're very experienced, when they get here and we do the walkthrough, I still go through everything. Sometimes I'll take more time if I know they're a first timer, but I still try to cover everything and go through all the systems that we have and everything that's on the camper, just so that they know.
Awesome. So once they book, exactly what happens next, maybe before they show up to, do the rental walkthrough? Is there anything that you're communicating in between that time period?
Yeah, so as soon as they book, we schedule a call. And on that call, I ask all the questions that I just, went through. And then in between the time, I'll send out my SRA, which is a supplemental rental agreement. And that just goes over all of our expectations, our rules, and they have to check the boxes about awning usage. And there's just a lot of particulars on there that I may not cover over the phone, but them reading it and have to agree to it, it just helps. We've never had to go back on our supplemental rental agreement, thank goodness, but it's always good to have. And I think it just kind of sets the bar on what our expectations are. Other than that, I let them know that now they have my phone number and they can contact us with any questions before their trip.
So as we just kind of continue down here, what is the biggest learning from renting your RVs, and what would you share with a new owner?
I think for me or for us, it would be separating personal and from business. When we first got started in this business, we had our own personal camper, and for some people, it's hard for them to allow somebody else to use their camper, I guess, and maybe this business is not for them. But we and we were maybe that way. We were kind of the first time it went out. We were kind of nervous about it, and where's it going? Is it going to come back and things like that. But yeah, we just separated a business from our personal life from our business life, and treated it like maybe like an asset. And then as we've grown over the last couple of years, we've learned what our limits are. So when we would get to the point where we would have to ask for help, and we actually have a cleaning crew that, because there's been times we'll get 5 or 6 rentals in the same week, and then it's a lot for 2 people to maintain even 5 or 6 rentals. So So we finally got to the point where we hired a cleaning crew, and then they can come in and give us a hand as needed. And so just know your limits so you don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's true. We knew that when we had our first 2 o'clock in the morning, up until 2 o'clock in the morning getting campers ready. And then he's got a full-time job, so he had to go to work the next day. And that's when we decided it's time
to ask for help. Yeah.
To get some cleaning, people in here.
Work
Yep.
smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note, what advice would you give to someone who might have one RV listed, they've been doing this for a year or two, and they maybe want to grow their fleet? What's the first step in that process?
Well, I think the very first important step is, just use your own camper for a while and then learn the business. Once you're ready, if you want to take on consignments, I would reach out to the social media groups, the Facebook groups for the RV owners. That is a great place to find people that are just maybe tired of managing their own rentals, or they've got a camper for sale, and then offer them that option. The other option is, if they want to buy units, I would buy them. We've always bought ours used, like just maybe a year old, and let somebody else eat that depreciation.
Yeah, for sure.
So marketplace is what I would suggest.
Great. Very helpful. So for our final question here, you guys have given some great tips and advice. I think running an RV rental business is a lot more hospitality than people realize, and you're really facilitating these people's vacations. And when they come back from renting, what can benefit you is those 5-star reviews and just showing others that are your future renters that you do a good job. So what are some tips to, really secure those 5-star rentals?
Well, we, for one, want to provide great service from the get-go. We want to make it a great experience for them. And then I like to treat them as a friend. When they come back and return the camper, I always ask them, hey, how did it go? And how was your trip? And then I also ask them, is there anything that we could have done different or maybe supplied in the camper that you needed? And I get a little bit of feedback that way. And then I'll always send them an email and just kind of mention, glad you had a great time at the Smoky Mountains or wherever they went. And then I ask for a review. I just let them know that, hey, it really helps our small business. And I send them a link. And if you could, take a minute, we'd really appreciate a review. And we hope that you had a 5-star experience with us.
And one of the things that we like to, and I don't know if we mentioned this earlier too, but we always make ourselves available. So if there's an issue during their trip, they can always call us anytime. And a lot of times, and it's happened before, that I was able to walk them through an issue over the phone, and they went on and enjoyed the rest of their weekend. So make yourself available to your customers.
Oh, show them a koozie.
Yeah.
So this is something we added this year. We give 2 water bottles and 2 water bottle koozies. It's got our phone number, our website, and all that, so that they know they can contact us at any time. And then hopefully they'll think of us, the next time they rent.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike and Shelley, for sitting down with us to share some of your tips to success. Thank you for being great owners on RVshare, and have an amazing season this next year. I hope all the business goes well for you guys.
Thank you. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed this month's Virtual Owners Meetup. If you haven't seen all of our meetups in the past, you can find more on our YouTube channel. If you're seeking more one-on-one help, please reach out to your rental coach. It's a free service for all RVshare owners, and we'll link more information below. See you next time.